Tulane doesn't have.
That's so weird. You're gonna say Tulane, or you said Tulane because I was gonna say Tulane.
Really?
I was gonna say Tulane calls him and he just hangs it right up.
Yeah, because they don't have a $5 million collective to offer him $1 million out. You know, like
nothing against Tulane, by the way.
No. Yeah, let's get it. MOGL Podcast.
Today, this time it'll be February 1st. Now there's 31 days in January, so this will be February 1st.
Bro, it's been the longest month ever.
It really has. I feel like people. I've seen a tweet like someone put out, "Oh, this January went by like that." I'm like, no way. It's crazy how like people have totally different perspectives. Like it's just all about like what's going on in your life. But yeah, man, I agree. This month has been very long.
There's no way. I feel like they'd have to be being like sarcastic because everything I've seen is like, this has been the longest month, and there's like 4.5 weeks in the month. So I mean, it's been. You know when I realized when our paycheck didn't come in on Friday.
Yeah, right. That's when it really hits. I just think it's that time of year, you know. It's like everything's dragging. It's like the sun sets at what 5:30, 6 o'clock. So, but it's starting to hit that stride now. It's gonna get. I keep seeing posts like, in 30 days the sun will set at 7 o'clock. Like keep your head up, and I'm like, all right, I will keep my head up then.
Good. Stay positive. I need that.
Yeah, you gotta stay positive.
But thank you all for tuning back in. Welcome back for episode 3 of the MOGL Podcast. We have a few exciting topics to touch on this week. Obviously, man, running the podcast it makes you stay up to date on current topics, right? And obviously, you and I were both building MOGL, and when you're building a company, you kind of get lost in the sauce. For lack of a better way to put it, of just like the day-to-day grind. And
me personally, I have to stay on top of it. So I'm always on socials. I know I have to be in with the know. But I could. Yeah, you kind of just get lost, and you're doing so many different things. So it's cool to kind of get a refresher of what the hell is going on in the world, especially revolves around sports. But the first thing I want to talk about, man, which I'm excited about, to see the evolution of, because I think live sports and sports in general and specific athletes it's become a commodity to kind of want to get behind the scenes footage of these athletes and their lives that they live. For sure.
Right? And we're seeing the value of live sports with what Netflix is doing with WWE, but how it relates to NIL is that Amazon Prime or Prime Video just greenlit a documentary series that's going to be following 4 of the top 10 NIL, or 3 of the top 10 NIL earners in all of college sports, and they all actually attend the university or Louisiana State University, or LSU for lack of for a better way to put it, right? More common term there. So. This is going to be awesome, man. I think
Sick.
Like, especially, and obviously it's going to have a pretty honed in, overview of NIL, right? Because that's what this is about. That's what these athletes are excelling in, and obviously there's sports. But when you think about, Olivia Dunn, right?
Sure.
You think about Flau'jae Johnson. You think about Angel Reese and Jaden Daniels, like. Those are 4 of the biggest names in all of sports, not just college.
For sure.
So it's going to be awesome.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is like, well, a couple things. But that very first thing that comes to mind is all that you see these athletes doing, like day in the life, like behind the scenes, like vlogs, like that's what is getting them the most engagement, and that's what's like so many athletes, college athletes, are building their brand off of.
Yeah.
Now we get to go like fully in depth with these.
It's not just a brand deal.
Exactly. It's not just a brand deal. They're going to be following them around all season. Like, you thought people were interested in that stuff. People are going to be going crazy for this. People are going to eat this up. So Flau'jae Johnson, rapper.
I know. Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy ceremony, probably highlighting.
So, but the cool part about it is like, all right, you've seen, what Flage has, what she's doing outside of basketball, right? But you don't really know what's going on with Jaden Daniels outside of basketball or football. Sorry, but so you get to see that from him. You get to see these other sides of these, or even Livy Dunn. Like we don't know her like personally. Like you see these people on social media. That's like kind of one thing, but you don't really get to see them behind the scenes and what they're actually going through on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. Prime Video, man, and just talking more high level about sports coverage. I mean, you think about the NFL as well. Like, are you privy to like how many broadcasting deals the NFL has in the conversation of like the NFL is just splitting all of their attention up across Fox, CBS, ESPN, Prime. It's just because everybody wants a piece of an athlete right now, and
sure.
So obviously NIL just continues to add to that. And the final note on that is they're calling it
the money game.
My thing blacked out.
What blacked out?
My thing. I'm sorry.
Your light?
Yeah. My ring light is stupid.
That'd be a nice little outtake.
But the final thing on that is that they're calling it. I'll let you go.
Oh, now I shut my screen off. The money game. The money game. I like that. That's a nice name. Yeah, it's a good name. It's a strong name. But I'm excited
for that.
Yeah, I also was thinking about when we were out at Elite 11, they were doing a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Where's that at? Any word on that?
I don't know where that is. Well, we were told not to take too much content from that. But Jaden Daniels was there, which is why Tommy brings it up. Jaden Daniels was one of the counselors at the Elite 11, which is the ultimate high school quarterbacking competition for Nike this summer that we actually sponsored.
Right. My other question, is this going to be – because is Jaden Daniels, is he going back to LSU this year?
No, he's
right. So this is already recorded. Like they've filmed it.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it said like the 23-24 season. So yes, I think they've already recorded it.
Right.
And they're probably going to have some, members of the content team following him through, obviously the Heisman ceremony,
sure,
and then draft process potentially, and then obviously the draft. So I can see this coming out in like the summer. Right, or early fall, because all the women have to finish their seasons.
Yeah, then the editing process and all that takes a long time too. So we'll see, but excited for it. Absolutely, it's gonna be a good one. Stay tuned for that one.
And then just kind of sticking on the female and women's sports topic, right? What TCU has done. Is no short of extraordinary, and I've just been kind of since I met her, Sedona Prince, who is
since you got dunked on by her. You mean?
If you want to show them the clip,
gonna have to stitch that in here for sure.
Sedona and were you there, Johnny? You were down in.
I was down there. Yeah, I wasn't privileged.
Oh, I sent you the clip.
Yeah, and then it had to go right up on social. I wasn't privileged. To be there for that moment. I wish I was. That would have been awesome. But
privilege. That's not a privilege. But yeah, shout out to her. Shout out to her because she's a pioneer in this whole thing of NIL and being a content creator and having a story. And so Sedona transferred from Oregon down to TCU last year, and TCU after a 14-0 start. Eventually, maybe 2-3 more games in, they had to host an open tryout for the women's team, which is crazy.
I don't think I've ever heard of that. Yeah, like mid-season, like such a high
after being 14-0 and top 25.
Yeah, that too. Country. Like you're undefeated. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. So, like how unlucky do you have to be with injuries? Yeah, so she. If you guys want to go find more out about the deal, Sedona is on TikTok. She talks about it, right? She goes down initially with one of her fingers being shattered. The point guard tears an ACL on a non-contact injury.
backup center after Sedona gets an MRI and gets a season-ending injury, and then a few other teammates have foot injuries or feet injuries or whatever it is, and then they have to cancel games due to the lack of depth, and then they host this tryout to, fill up the roster. Wild, right? And then
crazy.
And then a volleyball player actually steps up. I guess she was a former basketball player in her past life.
I was told that they found multiple state champion hoopers on campus.
Oh, word!
Yeah, that's like
that would be wild. That's wild.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I think they signed 3 girls as walk-ons.
Yeah, 3.
And I think a couple of them won a state championship and whatever. I think they played high school basketball and they won state championships. I have to do more research on my end. That's my fault. Apologize to
No, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about diamonds in the rough. You're just looking for a walk-on and you find state champions.
Yeah.
So, that's like being a high school team and you're like the varsity. Like, you've never seen this at a college level. Like, when can you ever we're gonna grab somebody from JV, and I'm just gonna throw them up.
I'm trying to remember when I've heard of this. I definitely heard of like a quarterback,
like an open tryout.
Like a 4th string quarterback being in the stands and getting pulled from the stands to come play.
Right. Yeah. It's something like that. Yeah.
Like something that crazy. But just thinking about the TCU team, like now you have nothing to lose. Like I kind of think of this as like, all right, now we're kind of the underdog in every scenario for the rest of the year. Like, let's go win games and, like, just play our butts off. And, some people who obviously may have not had the chance to play early in the season,
now
this is God's way of telling them, like, hey, this is your opportunity to go make the most of it. And I think as a college athlete, that's really all you can ask for, so.
Yeah, I think you should be a coach, Brandon, with those words. Those are some wise words right there. I think that's exactly what the coach should be telling those girls as they walk out every game. But
you know what I was thinking before I went to bed last night? Why haven't I thought about coaching as a career?
Why not?
And I just think it's not a I won't say it's not conducive to the life I want to live. And it primarily revolves around wanting a family, a happy family. Through the ages of like 30 and 50.
Yeah.
But, I won't say it's not conducive to that because I've seen it happen, right? But,
exactly,
but
there's a lot.
Coaching is a lot. And especially if you're at the college level, Tommy, you're traveling, you're recruiting, there's no off season, and,
it's a commitment. And you can't you can't half-ass that. It's not. There's no.
No, and you start at the bottom of the fucking.
Exactly.
barrel.
Yeah. Exactly. That's it.
Have you ever thought about it?
Have I ever thought about it?
Yeah.
No. I would love to be in a role like that, but I just don't think I know enough about the sport. If I were to coach any sport, it would be football, just because it's just the most fun to be around, in my opinion. Like. I've never been in like a basketball practice environment in like a varsity level, but football practices are fun. In high school anyway. I never went to a college. I've never been in a college practice. That's one thing. But I just feel like there's a certain level of camaraderie and like being in a locker room, like you talk about all the time. I feel like there's nothing like that. So. Yeah, I would. Could I see myself doing it? Probably not, just because I don't know enough about football. But I could also see myself pushing myself to do something like that and learning enough to one day do it.
Yeah. So speaking about coaching, Tennessee is under NCAA investigation for NIL violations across multiple sports, and this, in my very basic understanding of what these NIL violations.
Yeah, I can explain it a little better. I was doing a little more research on it.
It involves inducement and recruiting. Which is it's going to be a fine line. Yeah. No matter which way you cut it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you want to go into depth on it.
Yeah, it seems like the NCAA is just kind of singling out Tennessee. I mean, maybe not singling out isn't the right word, but like, because there has been obviously other allegations, but there's just no like, I don't know. It's such a gray. Like, if you're not gonna set like actual rules, like how do you expect people to not try to find ways around it? Number one, or I don't know. Like there's all this gray area that you talk about. Like people are gonna find ways around it unless you eliminate that gray area. And I feel like that's what's happened here. Like people at Tennessee are like, at least this is my understanding from what I've read. It's like they kind of tried to whatever was written, they kind of tried to, I don't know what the word is, but like whatever was written, they were like, that's...
Enforce it?
No, they tried to like finagle the system almost. Like,
finesse.
Like, hey,
you could just say
finesse. Yeah, I guess finesse. Yeah, but they're like, hey, this isn't how it's written in stone, so we're just gonna do it because it's not written in stone like this. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, let me read you this because this is where I think these types of violations come into play, which is kind of like, all right, a little bit messed up by NCAA. But in May 2022, the NCAA reinforced to member schools, Tennessee's obviously a member school, that using NIL benefits as recruiting inducement violated its rules. At the time, the NCAA amended its policy with plans to retroactively investigate improper behavior and NIL collectives involved in recruiting players over the previous 10 months. So another thing that's important in this case is that Tennessee was already under they're already under rule violations which happened under Jeremy Pruitt from 2018 to 2021. But what else? Very strongly that it followed all NCAA guidance related to NIL. Obviously, each school is gonna claim that they followed every guideline to the T. But like you and I know, man, this thing there's a very thin line between inducement and what you can tell an athlete of like how much athletes are making. Like, so my thing is like, what's the difference between if Tommy, I'm recruiting you to Notre Dame. Right. Let's not use Notre Dame. Let's freaking use.
This is exactly what I mean though. By they're like towing the line of like, we're not actually using this as inducement. We're just gonna like tell him this is how much he's gonna make when he comes here.
Right. Or like my example was gonna be like, the quarterback is currently making $1.5 million. Right. And we have a tiered system for seniors, juniors, sophomore, freshmen. Right. So and it usually ranges between $250,000 to like $1.5 million based on your age. Like, so basically, it's just a very thin line. And
their argument in that is like, well, we're not actually doing what you're telling us we're doing.
Yeah.
But they are, technically, at the end of the day, they are. But in a court of law, that's not going to hold up. Right? Yeah. Like, Tennessee's winning that case 9 times out of 10. Or 10 times out of 10, I guess. I mean,
well, we'll see because, obviously, like, what was it? I think Miami had some crackdown on their law, on their...
and FSU just recently, too.
FSU, like, schools are starting to take, or the NCAA is starting to take a little bit of action. Again, more so retroactively investigating. This next point is also important for everyone listening when it comes to how schools can be involved in NIL. So bear with us here as I read this. In October 2022, the NCAA clarified its rules on the role that schools can play in NIL. It said that school personnel, so coaches, compliance officers, whether there's like, for someone at Notre Dame, it might be a guy like Chris Stevens, who was the founder of Keurig, right? And who was, like, he's somebody that, could speak to like business ethics and like being an entrepreneur and just like has a business savvy, right? So somebody like him might be on these. But it said that school personnel, including coaches, can assist an NIL entity with fundraising, so collectives, through appearances or providing autographed memorabilia, but cannot donate cash directly to those entities. School staff members also cannot be employed by or have an ownership stake in an NIL entity. But the NCAA ruling came after Tennessee and other states passed laws permitting universities to have direct and public relationships with collectives that pay their athletes for their NIL. Once again, the NCAA legislation followed behind state laws and not the other way around. So, like, you know, it sucks for Tennessee.
It sounds like they're just kind of making a making a what's the word? Making a
excuse?
No, why can't I think of words like ever?
Well, in this case,
a lesson, like making a lesson out of them.
Yeah, making a case out of them. Yeah, for sure. But you know, I think Tennessee's going to obviously go through a thorough process with the NCAA and show that they already had state laws in place before the NCAA came and permitted this type of interaction. So we'll see what comes out of that. Hopefully have an update for you, maybe in the next week or 2 episodes from now.
It seems like, though, that just the NCAA is kind of, well, I mean, obviously, the NCAA is just so stuck, you know? They're so stuck in such a past time, like, and they can't realize the fact that these athletes, the market value of recruitment of the athletes.
Like there's an actual market value to it, right? Like how else are you going to recruit? I mean, in free agency, right? You talk about a market value on a player. I mean, it's very similar right now. You know, that's just where we're at.
It just is what it is.
Yeah, like you're not gonna get a Caleb Downs. Like there's some conversation.
Did you see how many phone calls he had? Did you see that?
Yeah, 102
phone calls. I mean, I feel like that's like I would have expected more. I don't know. Like one from like every coach. I don't know.
Yeah, but
dudes
but these people are. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But then you think about like which schools can actually even like almost afford him now is what you have to say.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like these like.
Tulane
doesn't have.
That's so weird. You're gonna say Tulane, or you said Tulane because I was gonna say Tulane.
Really?
I was gonna say Tulane calls him and he just hangs it right up.
Yeah, because they don't have a $5 million collective to offer him $1 million out. You know, like
nothing against Tulane, by the way.
No,
but that is so weird that you said that because I was gonna say Tulane. I don't know why the Green
Tulane.
Wave are on our mind. But here they are.
All right, in this segment of campaign highlights of the week, we have Splintech. Splintech is a nasal flare product that gently expands your nasal passageways to increase airway volume up to 58%. I have personally been using this nasal product during my morning runs and have honestly loved it. It just sits in your nose. It widens those passageways and air flows right through those noseways, baby. The second one we have is Circle K. It's the gas station and convenience store that everyone knows about. MOGL athletes are going to their nearest store and capturing some of their favorite late night snacks and creating some really cool content. So tap in with our athletes, tap in with us on our social media pages to learn more about these exciting campaigns.
Green Wave.
And maybe some illegal activities.
A ton of money.
This guy, you could probably pronounce his name better, and I'll let you say his
Kayshon.
name.
I honestly think it is Boutte. Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah. What happened to him?
Illegal online gambling. He got arrested, I believe, because I think he was under the age of 21.
Oh, that's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
He
was 19. Yeah, you got to be 21 to gamble.
So how the heck did he get his
He probably
ID?
He probably used that's a great question. I really don't know. But the other funny part of it is he put the bets on his own. Yeah, the account was under his. I forget what it was, but it was something.
Kayshon Boutte 01.
Yeah, exactly.
And then KB.
I mean, I'm sure his Instagram tag is Boutte TD KG boy or something like that. But that is
Yeah.
You could spot that from a mile away.
And he won some dangerous types of money, right? Like, what was?
Yeah. So here's the numbers. He bet over 8,900 times, which
That's wild, dude.
yeah, they did the math on it. It would be 22 and a half bets a day. So, and he for over $500,000, including on himself. He bet on himself. He bet on himself to score a touchdown and receive over 82 and a half yards against Florida State on September 4th, 2022, and he only had 2 catches for 20 yards. And after the game, he erased his social.
Really?
Yeah. So
there was one game or one clip on Twitter I saw recently of Jaden Daniels
consoling.
Consoling him.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think it might have been the same game, honestly.
When they were up big, and everybody was like, he definitely lost his bet or something. Hold on,
yeah.
Mom's calling.
Oh, Mom's calling. Gotta answer.
Let me text her. But yeah, man, wild stuff. Like,
so
8,900 is the number that gets me. Like, that's crazy.
I don't even think I've ever. I mean, most people haven't even won $8,900, let alone bet 8,900 times. So he deposited over $132,000 into the account, and he won over 550,000. But he was keeping most of the won money in there, and he would put it on other bets. He deposited $50,000 into his bank account. So he got away.
Where did he get $132,000 from?
I mean, NIL was around, so I mean.
Oh, was it?
It was 2022, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he bet on himself. I mean, the games were ranging from like 2021 to 2022, I think, or like maybe it was 2020 to 20. I don't know, but it's another good point. I don't know where he was getting the money from. Probably
Collective.
Under the table from LSU, but
no. If NIL was effective, then it was over the table. That's what we support.
Well, of course, that's. But before 2021, that's just how it goes. But anyway, that's just hilarious. Like, you always see these stories come out, and betting on yourself is. I couldn't even imagine the anxiety of betting on yourself. Like, that's. I mean, you feel shitty already not having a good game. Just
right. Exactly. Yeah, and then you're like, I couldn't imagine either, right? Because you already have all this pressure on you to perform, and then you have additional pressure when you have money on the line on yourself, and it becomes a mental thing more than anything else, right? Of like,
for sure,
you might end up yelling at somebody, you might end up yelling at your quarterback in this case, or like
that meltdown,
your coaches, or like, and then someone I hate when a receiver comes up to you as a quarterback and like, get me the ball, and then you try to force it, and then it becomes a turnover. It's like in basketball.
How many times have you seen that though?
Yeah,
so often, and it's like
a Stephon Diggs or like
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, like Jalen.
AJ Brown does it all the time.
I promise you, Jalen does not like throwing, like, especially right after you come off and yell at me off the sideline. Mm-hmm. Bro, why would I throw you the ball? Like, you think I'm not trying to throw you the ball? I hated that.
Yeah.
It's like, you're my best receiver. Of course I want to throw you the ball, but like, I'm going to go through my progression as I'm coached, right? And if it's not there, it's not there. I'm not going to force it. Yeah. And if you come off and yell at me, it's even going to deter me even more.
It's like, dude, Nick Bosa's in my freaking face, bro. Like, Can you calm down? Like, I'm trying.
Or you're just getting bodied by who? Like somebody, I don't know, Jair Alexander.
Or you're just not open. Like, his whole thing is always open, right? Though. Right. AJ Brown, I'm always open.
Yeah. So,
but
a crazy amount of pressure, just wild numbers around that gambling. I hope he gets help first of all, right? Like, we're not trying to make fun of him or anything. I just, it's obviously a initiative.
Well, he's on the Patriots now, so was he a first round draft pick last year?
I don't know, but obviously he got arrested, so I don't know what the situation currently is.
He was 187th in the 6th round. Oh, all right. First round draft.
Quite off, Thomas.
I don't know where I got that information from. Probably just the back of my head. But, yeah, best of luck to him. Hopefully that doesn't – they got a new coach over there in New England, so hopefully he doesn't get the boot. But speaking of big numbers, Kansas.
I love that every time, every segment.
Everything has to be a segue. Speaking of which. Nah.
Let's just jump over to what we want to talk about next.
Yeah, enough of that. That's right. Enough of this uniformity. I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Kansas is not playing in their home stadium next year. They're going to play 4 home games at Arrowhead and 2 at Kansas City Children's Mercy Park, which is Sporting KC's home field. It's an MLS team. So they're spending $448 million to renovate their stadium. That's a lot.
It's the college football team.
I know, but that's a lot.
Kansas? Yeah, Kansas, that is a lot.
That's a lot for Kansas, I feel like.
We spent that much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was the whole renovation of like all those. You remember the big 3 buildings that we put up around the bowl?
Yeah.
That was $455 million.
Damn.
So like,
that's it. That's all you guys could do with that. Couldn't do anything more.
What do you mean? Is that sarcasm? We put up fucking 3 big ass buildings, and then we also had $40 million.
Shit's expensive, bro.
The new practice facility, but
right.
I didn't like. That's crazy, right? Like, I would love to see the origin of all that money because,
right.
I mean, this conversation goes into NIL spending, but there was a recent data pool that showed that donations into athletic programs rose, I think, roughly 13% year over year, right? So, like, considering NIL and collectives and people thinking that money's going to go elsewhere outside, you know, it got to go to NIL. Like,
Did you see what UNC is doing? They came out with their collective, I believe, came out with a. Let me look that up.
So this is gonna have a capacity of 18,000. Oh, at the park.
Yeah, so that I thought was super interesting. So their home field, going back to the Kansas playing at KC Children's Mercy Park. So Kansas's home field currently holds 47,000 fans. That stadium holds 18,000. That's a significant drop off. It's like 30,000 less fans.
Well, it's only 2 games. Like, they're not going to be. They're probably counting the year as a wash in terms of like ticket revenue, maybe, but who knows?
I just think it's going to be a quiet, and it's going to be an advantage for whoever's playing against them. Huge advantage. But anyway, I want to get back to that UNC thing. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so Heels for Life is their collective, and that's their football collective, and they wanted to hit a $1 million mark for that called Hold the Line to get the players to stay, which is just wild to me. I mean, but it is like
why is that wild?
What'd you say?
I said, why is that wild? I love that.
I know. No, I just think
Michigan did the same thing.
I just think it's crazy, but like this is.
It's a day and age, baby.
I know. I know. I'm just not used to it. You know.
It's the day and age.
But this is all new. Like this is the first year that this type of things. I don't think it's bad. Like I don't think it's crazy bad. I think it's crazy good. Like it is crazy. Like we haven't seen this before. Like
it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe crazy is not the right word, but
no, it is. It is. It is different. It is. We need to see if it's going to be sustainable.
Right, because I think this could be, maybe this is UNC's like, you know, if this doesn't work out,
Yeah, well, they're not retaining Drake May, so like.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know.
Well, my whole point is like this whole conference realignment thing. The ACC is not, making well out of it. I don't think. So.
Yeah.
I saw something that came out on Twitter too today that, North Carolina is trying to making their starting ways to part ways with the ACC as well. So that should be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But last thing on the list here to cover, I saw a tweet today that I thought was interesting. Brock Purdy, apparently, do you think he's is he the lowest paid starting quarterback in the league this year? Do you know that?
Yeah, probably 100.
Probably
about 100%. I mean, you think about guys like Kirk Cousins, Kyler,
Kirk got
Fields.
paid. Brock Purdy was the 64th highest paid quarterback in the league this season. Wow.
64th highest paid?
64th highest. So, yeah. So, 64th lowest, whatever.
So,
that's... Yeah.
I mean...
So he's still on his rookie deal. That's just what it is. It just is what it is. That's how it works. But... Outkick is the source where this tweet comes from. And they said Brock Purdy made $870,000 this season and just got the 49ers to the Super Bowl. 22 college players earned more than him this year, even though most of them didn't do anything noteworthy in their respective seasons. That's not okay. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's probably not so my first thought goes to like his potential incentives that he has, right? Like he's probably coming away with at least close to $2 million, right? Especially if he comes and wins he goes and wins the Super Bowl, then he probably has a big bonus, big incentive, at least of like $500,000. So, what is it? 22 college players earned more than him this year.
Even though most of them, this is the guy's quote, or this is Outkick. This is the source that I'm getting it from. This is their tweet. I just wrote it down. Even though most of them didn't do anything noteworthy in their respective seasons.
Yeah, pretty wild claim.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like kind of clickbaity, but it's just like.
I mean, I get what he's saying, right? Like, taking an organization to the Super Bowl was a big deal. The amount of economic impact that San Francisco's going to see, San Francisco's seen, and what he's meant to the city. It's an easier kind of way to look at what someone's valued at or what someone's value is worth versus some of these college athletes.
And I mean the NFL also has a collective bargaining. They also they have a you're unionized, so that's how this works. You come in, you make this amount of money, and then for the second contract, you make X amount of money.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome story though, man. Like Mr. Irrelevant, obviously sure. you're on the base contract, rookie contract. I'm very curious to know what the minimum rookie contract is today. Like it used to be around 600,000.
Really?
What is the minimum?
That's a lot,
bro. Yeah.
Like to be on the 53 man.
Yeah, you're still making.
Oh, all right. Well, that's.
See, look, it's the minimum salary for NFL players with 1 year experience is 870,000. Rookie 750,000. So like these guys are making a lot of money.
Curious how much it is to be on a NBA roster.
I think it's a little bit more than that. But, either way, Brock is going to be just fine. He's going to sign a crazy deal. Mm-hmm. What is this? His second year? I think this is his second year. So he has 2 more years, unfortunately.
That's wild. And people are just going to keep crying about it, too, for 2 more years.
Can't restructure.
I'm curious, when Brady came into the league, so he was like a 6th-round pick, right? I'm not even slightly comparing Brock Purdy to Brady because that's not even close yet.
I would imagine it's like $200,000 minimum a year.
Right.
Maybe.
But at what point and maybe even you don't know this, I might have to look it up, but at what point was he like, all right, I need a I feel like back then it wasn't ever like I just feel like the media didn't get involved in these type of things. Like I feel like it was just like, all right, he'll get when the time comes, he'll get paid, you know.
Yeah,
but like, I don't think he kind of burst onto the scene too. What's that?
Yeah, I don't remember what year he broke onto the scene, but I also don't think contract and like contractual conversations were such of importance like they are, right? Like I saw Kayvon Thibodeau talking about, Saquon's contract. Like Saquon should have got paid before Daniel Jones, and someone was just like, yeah, these conversations weren't really being had, especially about your teammates,
right?
Yeah,
especially like you see, what's his name? You see T. Higgins and who's the other receiver for the Bengals? Jamar Chase. They're like grilling Jamar Chase. Like, oh, do you think that what are those? The Nerds Bites?
Yes, Nerds.
Fire.
Candy.
They're like grilling him. Like, oh, what do you think? Like, you think T should get paid, or do you think you should get paid, or like something like to that effect? It's like,
oh, they were.
Bro, like,
I saw that. Yeah.
Like, what do you think? Like, you think I'm gonna say no? He shouldn't get paid. Like, pay me instead. Like, no, he's not gonna say that. Like, why do you? These media people. Yeah, exactly. Like, media people sometimes are just robots. It's like, what do you expect them to say?
Who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
Who do I have winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
I'm not picking against Mahomes again. I picked against him in the divisional and the conference, and I lost money. It's just stupid to do it. It's just wrong.
It's like picking against Brady.
Exactly. I actually said on Christmas to my family, I was like, Mahomes already over Brady, like now. A couple drinks in me, but I was just next morning I'm like, nah, that was kind of stupid. But now I'm like, should have stayed on my laurels. Like, this dude's going for what? Super Bowl number is this 3 or is this 4?
It's 3.
It's 3. So
in year 6.
Year 6. Say I saw something that like say him and Andy stay together for 10 more years.
Yeah, but I also saw something about Belichick or somebody replacing Andy, which I think would be a devastating blow to Pat Mahomes in his career. But who knows? I just think when I heard that, I got scared that Pat is not going to stay on the same trajectory because such a big part of Pat's success is the play calling and the offense that they've been running, right, and putting him in positions or putting the defense in positions that are confusing.
I agree.
And the playmakers that they have, and I think Andy Reid is the best to utilize that type of talent. So, I hope he would at least stick around for another 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Get them like if they don't get another one, or if they get this one this year, like at least get another one more. 4.
Yeah.
I think Pat has to. I can't say this. You can't say he has to get to 4 to be, compared to Brady. Because I think when you think about just quarterback play, he's already there, right? Like pure just quarterback talent.
You might say the same about Aaron though, right? And then
it might be above him, but like Aaron only has one championship. But like if Pat gets 4, I think that's where my mind goes. Is like Pat needs to get 4 to like just be considered the all-time GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Not just talent-wise.
The one thing I'll go back to is like, well, if Tom could do it without Belichick, maybe Mahomes could do it without Andy.
Yeah,
so,
true.
You never know. But that's for another day. I actually looked up. Brady was drafted in 2000, and he won his first Super Bowl in 2002. So
he got it right off the rip.
I mean, he was due. He could have asked for more money right after that Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, but like, I don't know.
I know. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, I guess
it could have been more of a. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe it was a big story. Maybe the media made a big thing of it, but I doubt they did. You know,
maybe Brock Purdy's on that type of trajectory. This is his second year.
Maybe he is. Is he? No, he's not a California boy, is he?
I don't know. I know he went to Iowa State. I don't know if you'd go to Iowa State if you're from California, but we'll see.
I just like to think all quarterbacks are California boys. I don't know why. Just if I don't know where they're from, they're just.
What do you mean? I'm such an East Coast. I'm a gritty.
If I just don't know where they're from, like probably from California or Texas.
Yeah. I'm with you. Cool, man. Well, that's a wrap for this week, guys. Stay tuned for our campaign highlight of the week. Or campaign.
Yeah, we're gonna do that in the middle. We're gonna do that in the middle. So stay tuned for nothing. Stay tuned for the end of the episode. Stay tuned for next week.
I was trying to close it up pretty officially, guys, but Tommy ruined that. So yeah, stay tuned for next week. And thank you for joining this week's episode. Let us know what you want to hear next week.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Peace.